Hi guys, welcome to this session on data sciences. I hope finally everything is in place. And I'll begin by thanking you all for taking some time out to be part of this particular session. Let me make this very clear. We are going to keep it very crisp to the point, and we'll make sure that we'll try and answer all the queries that you have been sending us. We've gone through each and every one of them. I'll try and cover almost all of them throughout the session, and then later on, there were some specific queries. We'll surely try and answer them as we go ahead with the session. Okay. So, like what was mentioned earlier, we are over here to talk about data sciences per se, or what is being touted as the careers of the future. Anyways, I'm not someone who is a big fan of the industry jargon or the technical terms. Let's try and keep things very simple. It's all about understanding what it's all about, and then accordingly we'll build up to whatever the concepts that we need. See, we all have been listening or hearing about data sciences, data analysts, data engineering, machine learning. In fact, to be very honest, it has gone to a stage where now it's getting a bit irritating. What exactly is this all about? Am I required to learn all of these, or just one of these, or what is the difference, or how exactly do I pursue my career further? Because going through the questions that you guys have posted, one thing that I could figure out was there is a lot of confusion about what exactly are we supposed to learn to be a professional who is industry ready maybe for the next decade. Now this is the first keyword. We should not be looking at, say, what was happening, say, last 3 4 5 years. Obviously it does give us an indicator of the things to come, but you should always be looking at technologies which would be relevant for the next decade. And trust me, if there is one technology which is going to rule the next decade, it is going to be artificial intelligence. But again, the question is, now why suddenly artificial intelligence? We are here to talk about data sciences, right? But then that is how it goes. Artificial intelligence, data sciences, and machine learning, they will always coexist. You cannot talk about data sciences without machine learning, or maybe you cannot talk about AI without these two, right? So they are all interlinked. So let us, as a layman, let's try and figure out where is data science. We keep talking about data science. There's so much of demand for data science. There's that, all sorts of crap we are listening to every day. Where is data science? I'll just give you some practical application, something which you might be facing or you might be encountering on daily basis. The most important application which personally I feel is for data sciences is your internet searches. Just make a wild guess, how many times do you make a Google search in a day? It could be via your phone, it could be via your laptops or computers or iPads or wherever. How many times do you make a Google search? And also you've seen the audacity of Google. When you make a Google search, at the end of it, it not only gives you those links, but at the same time it also tells you that, okay boss, I've got you this particular data in these many seconds or these many milliseconds. Now how is it that with billions and billions of petabytes available on the internet, Google gets you the data, the relevant data, and in absolutely no time? Now you can say this is a classic example of big data analytics, data science, and machine learning working together to get you the results. And look at the relevance. A lot of times we feel that the computer knows a little too much about us. Be it Facebook, be it Instagram, be it Twitter, be it any of these social media. They know little too much about us. Now it's all because of this idea of data sciences and machine learning. So over here, in simplest possible terms, I can say that internet or the Google search is using all machine learning algorithms and data science concepts to get you this. Another very popular application, very important application in the world today is targeted advertising. Now what exactly do you mean by targeted advertising? If you have, say, your Netflix account, you log in today, you will see that Netflix is coming up with new content literally every day. So suddenly you'll find recommendations on your computer or on your Netflix account. Now how does Netflix decide what is your area of interest, or what is the kind of shows that you want to see? If you have 4 users on that Netflix account, or four will have different recommendations. Netflix doesn't just track what have you seen, it has also checked for what duration did you watch that particular show, how are you a binge watcher, or you watch a show over a period of time, and so on. So it will find that I start with maybe a particular genre and I don't continue for more than 5 7 minutes, it will not recommend me that. Now imagine the amount of data each one of us is generating every day, be from all these sites, from all these social media profiles. All this data is actually analyzed and you are being profiled. Trust me, the internet knows so much about you that you don't even have a clue. Today, these big giants like Amazons and Flipkarts and these guys, they actually boast saying that it's not the customer who comes and buys what he or she wants. These customers, they actually end up buying what we want them to. And you can say today the entire marketing and the sales business, entire thing works on the idea of machine learning and data sciences. That is why it's no wonder in all my current courses, what I've seen is that there are a lot of people from sales background coming in who want to learn machine learning, who want to learn data sciences. Because if you're working with a company, if you want to create your sales strategy, you cannot be ignorant when it comes to, say, targeted advertising, and you can design your strategies. No, that's not happening. Today, each and every decision is made keeping in mind the specific target. Nobody is now going to go to the broadcast media. You might have seen that in recent times with this COVID thing and the lockdown happening, hoardings have absolutely lost their significance. There are no newspapers, absolutely no newspapers maybe circulating as of now. What has picked up is digital media. What has picked up is targeted advertising. And more so, now people have realized if I'm spending say a lakh rupees on, say, other traditional media, I just need to spend 2,000 to get similar leads from say targeted advertising. So another very important application of machine learning and data sciences. ah you click a picture, you will tag a place, you'll tag a person, you'll tag a location. Now how does my system identify, who are the people who would want to tag, or what is the place that you'd want to tag? It's not that you've just tagged something and the system will leave. You might have tagged someone in a picture and forgotten, but the system would analyze it, how many times you've tagged that particular person, what is the probability of you tagging a particular place in your pictures, and accordingly it'll keep giving you recommendations. I won't be surprised if you tell me that a lot of times Facebook ends up recommending, or Instagram ends up recommending people for you, those people which you never realized were there on Facebook, but they are the ones whom you would want to be connected. Now that is again the power of machine learning. So you are using machine learning and data science algorithms whenever you're tagging anybody in any kind of picture. Image recognition algorithms, again, they've always been very popular, to be very honest, but then now machine learning and data sciences have taken it to a different level altogether. Something which you are maybe hearing on daily basis, medical diagnosis. Just yesterday I was reading an article where the Brazilian government has released a particular app using which we can actually predict what would be the outbreak in which particular area of Brazil, and you can keep tracking what or how you will be maybe in next few days or in next few weeks going into these COVID emergencies. Now what exactly is this app doing? This app is using nothing but past data, analyzing it, looking at the patterns across the globe, finding out similar countries or similar scenarios, and then from there building up onto their own predictions. So the point that I'm trying to make is that today there is no field left in this world which is not being affected or which is not using the idea of data sciences, whether it is healthcare, whether it is sales, whether it is accounts, whether it is statistics, name it, and you will find machine learning and data sciences. So let me make this point very clear. See, going further in the future, see, most of the people in this particular audience today are either who are graduates, and we have quite a few students who are continuously pursuing their graduation. Get this thing right. Without the idea of machine learning and data sciences, you are going to be handicapped going further. It is not going to be a luxury, okay, that I know machine learning or I know data sciences. It is a necessity now. Unless you understand that, you'll always be handicapped designing your strategies, or even while applying to various companies. Just last year, June, the statistics, the data was released by the US government based on the requirements that were asked for in all the jobs that were posted in the US market. So US market last year, of all the jobs that were posted, 70%, 71% required people to know Python. Now, what is special about Python? No, Python is not special. No, not at all. The reason why Python became important is because what you can do with Python. So machine learning, data sciences, data analytics, data engineering, the language for all these is Python. So when the companies were demanding that you know Python, the reason was that eventually they wanted people who could implement the concepts and take them gradually towards artificial intelligence. So understand this, it is an absolute necessity. It is not a luxury anymore that, okay, I may or may not know, artificial intelligence or data sciences, and I'll go and pursue a career in IT industry. Trust me, that's not happening. There are people who've been working as mainframe engineers for last 15 years. There are people who've been working as testing engineers for last decade or so. All these have now come back and they are wanting to learn these skills because the companies need them. The new updates that the softwares have been giving out, you need this information. So just one thing, it's everywhere. Data science is literally everywhere, and you cannot afford to say I don't know data sciences or I don't know machine learning. So it is a necessity. Let's be very clear about it. Okay, so now that we've understood the significance of data sciences and its relevance, the question then is, what is data science? See, again, if I had to discuss some engineering concept over here, that might be a little difficult, but understanding data science is the easiest thing that you will come across. See, data science is all about whatever are the billions of bytes of data that is being generated on the system. You take that particular data, you identify the data that is relevant to you, you clean that particular data, and you design algorithms which will come up with some patterns using which you can make your decisions. So data sciences in absolute layman's terms is to be in a position to make conclusions from the billions of bytes of data which is available. And trust me, it is much easier today than what it was, say, a couple of years back. You can just make a simple search. You can imagine the amount of data Facebook creates, say maybe per day, amount of data Google creates, the amount of data Instagram creates, amount of data Twitter creates, plus whatever other profiles that you're using or whatever other industries that you're working with. You should be able to analyze it. That is what data science is all about. So if you ask me, if I'm a data scientist, what exactly do I do? See, there are three things that you need to understand. One, a data engineer. Two, a data scientist. Three, a data analyst. Now, suppose, say, if I'm working for a company like, say, Toyota, right? So as a data engineer, what am I supposed to do? Now, world over, there is a current trend on what people are buying, what automobiles are being bought by the people, what models are success, what models have failed. Suppose I'm targeting Indian market. So I will collect all the data from all possible relevant sources, and I'll try and arrange them in the best possible data structures. So I am a data engineer. A data engineer is someone who sources whatever is the data needed from all possible resources available. That is what is your data engineer. Now, once this data is available, it could be, I don't know, billions of bytes. Today, it's no exaggeration when we use the word billions of bytes, because every major portal today is generating petabytes of data literally every day. The second step over here is data scientists. Now, what data scientists would do is, Toyota has a specific requirement. Toyota is focusing on a specific market. Toyota is focusing on, say, a specific model. Now, this fellow will then design the algorithms using machine learning principles, using principles of data sciences, so that whatever is the data given to him by the data engineers, from that I could try and correlate the data which looks absolutely unconnected. You can actually find some correlation from that particular data, so that you can link them, and so that you can actually come to some kind of a conclusion. So he will use machine learning concepts to correlate unrelated data and try and come to some kind of conclusion based on the association that this data that this data is showing. Finally, the data goes to data analyst. The data analyst has got all the algorithms. He or she will just apply those algorithms, get the data, present it in a proper manner using, say, visualization tools or whatever, using graphs, and present it to the company. The bosses of the company, they are not interested in going back to that billions of data. They'll just look at that visual, they'll look at those tools, they'll look at those graphs, they'll understand what's happening, and then they'll make those decisions. So data science is just about analyzing the data and making it so simple that a layman should be able to make a decision looking at the visualization tools without having to bother about the millions and millions of bytes that has been processed. So that is what is data science. So if I want to talk about data science, so data science is not just one thing. It is always a collection of things. See, most of us, what we think is that when you talk of data science is just about computers. No, data science is as much about mathematics and statistics as much as it is about computer science. So if I say, okay, I'm a software professional, I know nothing in mathematics, I know nothing in statistics, so I'll want to be a machine learning professional. No, I can't. At the same time, you cannot just walk up and say, okay, I'm brilliant at statistics, I'm brilliant at mathematics, but I have no idea about computer science, I want to be a data scientist. No, that's not happening. Now over here, understand this, the strength today is the association between computer science and mathematics that we see, what we now know as machine learning. So you might be an expert in a specific domain, add to that your mathematics and statistics skills, add to that your programming skills, and you are all set to be a data scientist. So you need to be an expert in some domain, plus a little bit of mathematics, a little bit of statistics, and a little bit of computer science. Now, when I give this chart to you, some of you might feel, boss, this is too much. I need to know mathematics, I need to know statistics, I need to know computer science. मेरे को तो एक बराबर से नहीं आता है. How am I supposed to manage all these things? How is this going to happen? Now, that is where people get intimidated. That is where people feel, ki, okay, this is too difficult. But what we need to understand over here is, I'm not saying that you need to know all of mathematics. I'm not saying you need to know all of statistics. I'm not saying you need to know all of computer science. You have tools available which will get this job done for you. So if you tell me, I don't know how to apply these mathematical formula, who is expecting you to apply mathematical formula? You have a tool. All you should know is that this is the formula that is needed. You will find predefined tools which will apply that formula for you. Or maybe if you're a computer science student, you will feel, okay, I'll be required to write a code for this. Who is asking you to write the complete code? No, it's not like what you were coding in C and C++ that you'll be writing, say, hundreds or thousands of lines of code. No, you have ready-made tools. All you have to understand is that this is what I'm supposed to do, and a language like Python or a language like R will give you a predefined tool which will implement it for you. So it's not about doing everything on your own. It's all about identifying the tools, and the tools will do it for you. We used to program in Pascal, we used to program in COBOL, then we learned C, we learned C++, we learned Java, we learned .NET. But trust me, if somebody is asking me about Python, I'll say it's a lazy man's language. Where C needed thousands of lines of code, for the same thing Java needed maybe 500, Python would do it in less than 50 lines. So that is how it has changed. So don't get intimidated. If you say, I'm right at the bottom at this stage, I don't know much about mathematics, I don't know much about statistics, I don't know much about computer science, but I still want to be a data scientist. Yes, it is very much possible. You need to think, but do not overthink. Trust me, it is much more simpler than maybe what this chart makes it look like, right? So you need to know these things, but nothing too difficult or nothing impossible. We've already discussed this. The hype is all about the number of jobs available, the career opportunities that are available. See, seedhi baat, it's the demand versus supply ratio. So as of now, there is a huge demand globally for data scientists and machine learning professionals, artificial intelligence professionals. That is why everybody, people from the computer background, and trust me, I've seen more people from the non-computers and the non-engineering backgrounds trying to get in over here. One, it is possible, and second, you can realistically target, say, the IT industry or the artificial intelligence industry if you are ready to dedicate anywhere between, say, 6 months to 1 year to upskill yourself. And if you could do that, whatever the profession you are in, you tell me you're a lawyer at the moment, you tell me you're a journalist at the moment, you tell me that you are maybe some other professional, sales professional at the moment, I can guarantee you, give yourself 12 months, and after 12 months, you can very well come out and say that I am a data science professional or I'm a machine learning professional. That is a very, very, very realistic thing that I'm talking about. Absolutely no exaggerations here. So if you want to join the bandwagon, you will definitely have to upskill, and then it's for you to decide what is the industry that you would want to join. Now, of the questions that were posted was, there was a very interesting question. It came from some mechanical engineer. He said that I'm a mechanical engineer. I've been working as a mechanical engineer for last 10 years. How can I get into data sciences, and how is this going to help me? Now, I'll give you a simple example. Suppose a company, maybe again a Toyota wants to hire me, and they want me to create a profile. They want me to create some analysis for, say, the performance of their car engines. Now, there might be 10, 12, 15 different aspects of engines of the car, which they want me to analyze. Now, understand, I'm a software developer. I'm a programmer. You tell me what you want, I'll write codes for you. My problem is I don't understand the parameters that are important for the car. I don't understand the roles that each of these parameters play in the working of that particular car. So for me, it would be like learning the automobile before I can actually try and write a code for that, which obviously is not going to be possible. So what the company will think is, rather than hiring a software professional like me and trying to teach him the nuances of a car, what they would do is they would hire a mechanical engineer like you. Maybe if you're trained for 6 months, you will be able to write the codes that I can. The best part is, now when you're put on the same job, you already know what the car is all about. You already know what the parameters are all about. You already know what the roles of the parameters are all about. The way you will apply those algorithms to that data would be 1,000 times better than what I would ever do. So a company like Toyota or a Maruti or any automobile company, or maybe a company like, say, Samsung, which is dealing in some electronic components or something, they would prefer a mechanical engineer with, say, the ability to program, or they would want an electronics engineer with the ability to program, rather than taking a software developer and trying to teach him or her everything. So get this thing right, irrespective of what is the field you are in. Data analysis is integral to every domain, every sector. All you need to do is you need to just upskill, learn how to apply these algorithms, and you are good to go. And trust me, without this, there is always going to be a blank in your resume which needs to be filled up. So I think it closes this debate once and for all, that I come from a non-computing background. I come from a background which is not related to programming. Is this relevant to me? It is more than relevant to you. And trust me, see, if I'm applying to a company like Toyota, and you as a mechanical engineer are applying to Toyota, and both of us are, say, machine learning professionals, trust me, any day of the week, they will prefer you ahead of me. And this applies to all possible sectors. So that is what we should be looking at. So the use cases, the companies which are applying machine learning and data sciences to a humongous level are Facebook, Amazon, Uber. I think the biggest of names are over here. So I'm not saying that it's just all these companies. It is each and every a small company or a massive giant like Google. Everybody uses data sciences. See, all of you are part of this particular seminar. This is a classic example of the success of artificial intelligence or data sciences. There are so many people across this globe, or maybe say across our country, who would be wanting to study data sciences. But how do me, or maybe SDBI or anyone else, identify who are you, where are you? Obviously, what they've done is they have taken help of platforms like Facebook. They've taken help of platforms like Instagram. They've posted some ads. These platforms like Facebook and Instagram, they have applied machine learning algorithms. They have identified your behavior, and they have picked you up as a prospective student who would be interested in this technology. And suddenly the ad appears in front of you. That ad didn't go to everyone and anyone. It went to very specific people. So you being part of this particular session itself is an application of artificial intelligence. So whether it's a giant like Facebook or an Amazon, or it would be a small company working, say, with maybe 5 employees here in Mumbai, everybody would need artificial intelligence and machine learning. Also, this is what we started with. A lot of people have heard of, say, maybe data science. They've heard of data scientists, but it's not that when I'm learning data sciences, there is just one position. Okay, data scientist, so I'll hire this person for a data scientist role. No, there are so many different roles. You have a data scientist, you have a data architect, you have a data engineer, you have a data modeler, you have a database administrator, you have data analyst, and so on. All these will coexist. All these will coexist, and each one of us will have a role to play before we can come to a stage where we can take our final conclusion, or we can take some decisions based on the data. Also, the term data is now gone. What we talk about is big data. Data analyst is fine, but today it's all about big data analyst. The data and big data is, today when we talk of big data, we are talking of data in terms of petabytes, right? So today that you can see for yourself the term GB, right? Gigabytes, it has absolutely lost its significance. 1 GB of data is literally nothing, right? So today we are talking in terms of petabytes. So for handling petabytes of data, or what we call as big data, you need each of the individuals playing a specific role, because one person cannot do everything. So depending on your expertise, you will be hired either as a data engineer or a data architect or a data scientist. All of them will have pretty much the same skills with a slight expertise based on your domain. If you have a slight expertise on something specific, you will be appointed accordingly. So there are different roles, so there are multiple openings. You should not always, if you're applying for a job, you shouldn't always search for, say, data scientist, because if a company is looking precisely for a data engineer or a data architect, you need to search accordingly, you need to apply accordingly, and you will find different openings. But the skill set, 90% of it remains pretty much the same. Now, a question that we face most of the time. So I've just picked up this non-technical people. They always come up and say, we are hearing about data sciences, we know the opportunities available, but is it suitable for them? I've made this very clear right from the beginning. I don't care what or where do you stand as of now. Give yourself 6 to 12 months of upskilling time, and you are good to be as good as anyone else who is wanting to join this world of artificial intelligence and machine learning. See, get this thing right. Now, I studied my engineering in late 1990s and early 2000s. Then the way we were working with computers was very different as compared to what it is as of now. You can say that we also learned all these technologies maybe 5 or 6 years back. For the first time, I was hearing these terms in 2012, 2014, where at least I realistically started working on these things. So technically speaking, I might be a master's in computer engineering, but when it comes to data sciences and artificial intelligence, my maximum experience more than you is what, 4 to 5 years? That's it. So it's not that that's something that you should have learned, say, maybe 2 decades back. If you say, no, this technology was extremely relevant 2 decades back, let me learn this now. Obviously, you cannot compete with me because I have 20 years of experience in that particular field. You are not going to be able to match my skills. But understand, at most, what is my expertise? What is my experience more than yours? 4 to 5 years, that's it. Give yourself 6 months to 1 year. You are at most, say, maybe 4 years junior, but you are still relevant to the industry for the next decade. I mean it when I say, come 2030, you will still find artificial intelligence being as relevant in the market as it is today. I studied artificial intelligence in 1999. Since then, we've been hearing that, okay, we are on the verge of achieving artificial intelligence. We are on the verge of achieving this. Google is doing this. Microsoft is doing that. Trust me, 20, 22 years down the line, the debate is still the same. Tesla has pumped in $1 billion. Microsoft has pumped in $1 billion. Google has pumped in $1 billion. But none of them till date, and 20 years of research, at least what I have followed for last 20 years, we have still not achieved artificial intelligence, right? So it is still as relevant, and it will stay relevant for the next decade. Now, the common questions that come, which I'll take up over here, and then obviously we will be going to your questions as well. I think I've answered the first question. I'm from the non-computing background. That is an irrelevant question. Whatever is your background, nobody cares. Learn the skills needed. You are good enough to be a data scientist. Now, I meet a lot of my engineering students, whom I've taught maybe 15 years back or something, who are currently working in different parts of the world. They now come back to me and they say, okay, we had learned programming 15 years back, but I've not been programming for last so many years. I have absolutely no idea what programming is all about now. Can I understand data sciences? See, all those who've learned programming, you might have learned C or C++ or Java, or maybe a little older, you might have you might have studied Pascal. These are the technologies that you might have learned. See, any programming background that you have can be an advantage. I cannot deny that. But assuming you come in with a mindset that, okay, I have absolutely no background. See, the way these technologies like Python and R and say Kotlin, the way they work, they don't think or they don't expect you to work the way say maybe Java or C or C++ did. So if I had learned maybe C and if I'm learning Python, I'm any which ways learning something which is absolutely new. Yes, little understanding of C will surely give me a head start, but nothing major. I can't say I have a huge advantage over you. So if you've not been programming say for 15 years, I don't care. See, you have programmed, but I'm saying you might be a commerce graduate. You tell me that I had done maybe my BCom say maybe 15 years back. Can I program? Yes, you can program. You will have to learn Python, and if you can learn Python, you can any day manage data sciences. So absolutely don't have that block in your mind that you were bad at programming or you don't know programming or you were not great at programming. So what will happen? Absolutely nothing. And trust me, most people who are part of this particular course or whom I've been training currently, they come from absolutely zero programming backgrounds. And within 3 months, they're as good as anyone else. You need to understand the knack. That is what Python is all about, getting the knack. Our programming is all about getting the knack. You will develop algorithms on your own. Again, something now people who come from technical background, they will say, oh, I know nothing about statistics. What do I do? Now this is where people who've done their BSc or MSc in mathematics or statistics, they will surely have an advantage. See guys, the way people coming from non-programming background are expected to learn a little bit of programming in the form of Python or R. Similarly, for people like us who are coming from a non-mathematical background, we need to understand a little bit of mathematics. We need to understand a little bit of statistics. But like what I mentioned in the beginning of our discussion, I'm not telling you that you need to be an expert or you need to be really good with mathematics or you need to be really good with statistics. See, you just need to understand that this is the principle of mathematics that needs to be used, or this is the principle of statistics that needs to be used. You will find ready-made tools which will do it for you. So it's not about actually implementing the logic. It's just about identifying the tools. So even if I get say absolute basics of statistics, if I get absolute basics of mathematics, I'm good to go. Now, even in our sessions, when we do machine learning, when we start with say something like regression and stuff, it involves quite a bit of statistics. It involves quite a bit of formulae. Now, when we show students those statistical formula, they at times feel, okay, this is getting too much. But when they actually write the code, they'll find that the entire code is done in 3 lines. Because, okay, just because for you to have that understanding, we discuss those statistical calculations that has happened. But today, everything is like a black box. You just feed the required input, you'll get the desired output. You don't need to focus on what is the part or what is happening inside this black box. So all the technologies today, they don't want you to write too much of code. They don't want you to know too much of stuff. Just that it says you give me the data which is relevant or and in the format that I want, I will give you the result that you want. You don't actually need to get into these black boxes. So if you don't know much of statistics or mathematics, it's absolutely fine. Whenever you are learning any data science course, they will make sure that you are given enough information on statistics or mathematics. So the way they ensure that you get your programming skills, they'll also ensure that you get your skills in statistics and mathematics as well. So don't have that block. You need to dedicate maybe 6 months to an year, depending on your background, and you will be a data scientist. You can be a data scientist. So all that we've discussed, you might say, okay, okay, accepted, everything is okay, this is known to us, but where do I start or how do I enter data sciences? Now, where do I get started? See, currently, if people are wanting to learn data sciences, let's understand what are the skills that you need to be a data scientist. One, if I talk in terms of programming, you need to know Python, you need to know R. If I talk in terms of technologies, you need to know machine learning, you need to know data analysis. In terms of data handling, you need to know a little bit of statistics, you need to know a little bit of mathematics. This is what is needed. So what would people do? They would take up a course on Python, then they would take up a course on R, then they would take up a course on maybe statistics, then they would take up a course on something. But the key is understanding how do I put all of them together and make them work together as a single entity. So currently what is happening is whatever other courses available, I'll not deny that there are millions and millions of courses available. I too look at these platforms, no denying that. If I have to learn, I can always look at Udemy or Coursera or Khan Academy or Udacity or wherever. But again, the problem is, understand, if I'm designing a course in Python, as a trainer, I will go as per my understanding and curate my course. Now, today, if you learn that particular course, it may not necessarily fit your requirement. And that is precisely what happens with thousands of courses which are available online. See, I'm sure most of you would have taken up, or maybe at least have tried taking up these courses online, right? And no harm in doing that. But you can judge for yourself that after taking up the course, at the end of it, were you able to design a machine learning algorithm by yourself? If yes, I'm more than happy. Thanks for proving me wrong. But if no, that is where the problem is. And trust me, after my experience of 17, 18 years of teaching programming, even today, when I take up lectures, uh, people have option of taking my recorded courses. They have option of taking my live lectures. Still people come up and take up live lectures, because when it comes to recorded courses, first is you don't understand कि इसमें से पढ़ना कौन सा है, because there's just too much of data. I get confused myself कि okay, what to do. Also, it's very important for a trainer to know what is your current status. See, if I have to take up a course on maybe Python or machine learning, I can do it for an 8-year-old child. We do it with schools. I can do it for teenagers. I've been doing it all my life with my engineering students. We do it at corporate level. But if you think I can teach the same Python to corporate level guys, what I was teaching to engineering students, or the same thing can be taught to 12 years old, it's not happening. It's very important that the trainer or the training company, they know where exactly do you stand and then take you further up from that. So that is one big problem. Classroom courses, again, if you go to different institutes, again, there is no sync. The problem is syncing all these concepts together. If I know Python, just knowing Python is not going to help you. If you know statistics, just knowing statistics is not going to help you. How are you going to correlate them? How are you going to make them coexist in the system? That is what needs to be done. Then the third option, which I feel is better among these, is pursue higher degree courses in data sciences from foreign universities. Yes, this is possible. But then, honestly, how many of us can actually afford that? And if you talk of any foreign universities now, I do a lot of consultation for education abroad as well. You have some really nice courses in Europe. You have some amazing courses in US. But if you're targeting US for your PG programs, you are looking at minimum say 45, 50 lakhs of an expenditure. And if you're looking at maybe Europe, anything between 20 to 25 lakhs is what you will need. So that is not a realistic thing. And honestly, the way the market is going as of now, and the way things have changed, I don't see a lot of students traveling for courses this year. Next year also, I'm not sure. So next 16, 18 months, this option is there. I'm not denying that. This option is always there, but I'm not sure how exactly it is going to work. So options are available, but one, you need to understand what is your goal, what is the time you have on hand, what are the options that you have where you can learn all these things in a sync, in a proper sync. And if you have a course which gives you all that, that is what you should be doing. So whatever is the current trend, I've already spoken about this. And the biggest problem is, we are already hearing about the layoffs that are happening in the market. The market is tough, and trust me, the market is going to get real tough going further. So whatever course you take up, you will be paying up a lot of fees, or whatever you'll be spending, just make sure that you have that placement assistance available to you, because that is going to be a big necessity going into say the next year and a half, right? So let's see, once the lockdown opens, personally I see a lot of layoffs happening in the IT field, because see, our companies here in India, they are majorly service based companies. We rarely have product based companies. We are service based companies. If the US market is hit, we are hit big time. We've seen that in 2001, we've seen that in 2008, and I'm sure we are going to see this say maybe late 2020 and early 2021. So if you can get placement assistance, absolutely nothing like it. So that is, these are some little things which you need to take care. Also, all those students who are currently say just completing your graduation, you have to keep an eye on placement and placement assistance. So now that all these things have been discussed, is there a possible solution? Now, there are a lot of courses which have been introduced by the University of Mumbai. See, please understand this. See, there are hundreds and thousands of say private courses available, private institutes available. I myself, I run a couple of institutes. But understand this: whenever it's a degree or whenever it's a program which is offered by a proper university, something like say a Mumbai University, it will always have a lot more weightage than maybe some distance learning program, or then maybe from a deemed or a smaller university. So I'm always a big supporter of degrees from any of the major universities. It could be a Mumbai University, it could be a Pune University, it could be a Delhi University, or it could be the University of Washington. So it could be anywhere on the globe, but it has to be from a proper university. Now, the courses which SDBI offers you over here is for all those who are 10 plus 2. There were quite a few students from 10 plus 2. You can look at BSc in data sciences and business analytics. See, earlier what used to happen is people used to pursue say computer engineering or IT engineering, which makes them 12 plus 4, and then they used to specialize in data sciences. But now what has happened is the government is introducing courses which are more industry oriented. So Mumbai University has started this particular course, which is BSc in data sciences. So you can get a head start. You need not understand every aspect of computers if you want to be a data scientist. So you can take a BSc in data sciences. All those who've completed your graduation, or maybe you might have done it last year, or you might have done it in maybe 2008, doesn't make a difference. There's a simple 1 year course, sorry, 2 year course on MSc in data sciences. You can take up that. Now, all these courses will start everything from the scratch, be it statistics, be it mathematics, be it programming, be it anything. So you will be taught all those aspects of data sciences which you are required to know. But then if you ask me, okay, I'm pursuing say MSc in data sciences, will I know something about computer hardware? No. Will I know something about maybe operating system? Yes, little bit, whatever is required to you. Will I know something about say distributed processing? No. You will be taught not the generic aspects of computers. You will be taught everything that is relevant to the idea of data sciences. Also, one course that I'm a big fan of is the diploma in the data science and business analytics. See, I can see quite a few of my ex-students over here who've pursued their engineering. See, what we can do is we've finished our engineering, or maybe if you're a final year student, say now you are finishing your semester 8, you can already see the mess that's happening. This 1 year diploma will train you precisely for data sciences, plus the program comes with that placement assistance. So that is something which can be of great help. I'm not sure how much placement the colleges are going to be able to provide this year. So you've got to sit down, you've got to look at your status. Where do we stand exactly? Where do you see yourself maybe 2 years down the line? What is your career path? See, you have to make a decision today, but you should be making your decision looking at what you'll be studying in next 2 years and what you plan to be working as for the next decade. So these are the three options available, everything under the University of Mumbai. So this is what we've been talking about. All this is what you are required to learn when you want to be a data scientist. Again, few questions which students had posted. They had asked this: what are the requirements? So this is the requirement. Programming languages, you need to know Python and R. Data analysis, feature engineering, data wrangling, data visualization, Tableau, Power BI. See, Tableau and all these softwares are so amazing. If you can just work maybe for a week, you'll realize that you can create such awesome visualizations using Tableau without knowing any kind of programming. Then you have statistics, linear algebra, differential calculus, web scraping, something which is very interesting. You'll learn about Beautiful Soap, you'll learn about Scrappy and stuff. So precisely what you see over here, this is what you will learn as part of any data science course. And I've seen the curriculum of the SDBI courses. They cover literally everything out of this, and students are able to design their own algorithms to solve real life problems using the concepts of data sciences. So these are the highlights. I've known the faculties also. They have faculties who have been maybe teaching for decades now. You have a good mix of how much you do practically and how much you do theory. What I have found is whatever programming I've been training, it has been all hands-on. A fantastic LMS where you are updated before time about what needs to be done. The biggest advantage is you will be a job ready professional. Today, no company is interested in hiring people and training them for 6 months and then maybe putting them on projects. It was done big time for last 20 odd years. Companies which were doing it big time were TCS, Infosys, Accenture, but none of them are doing that currently, right? And placement assistance is pretty active, so that also is going to be an advantage. The best part is, whether you're a BSc student, whether you're an MSc student, or whether you are a diploma student, all these features are available to you or to each of these courses. Now, this is something really interesting. I would later on want Bobby to elaborate on this, but this is a very unique program where you can actually join in the course. See, education is expensive, so you can join in the course by paying a very nominal amount. You complete your course, a placement happens in the final semester, and once you've placed, only after that you are required to pay the rest of the fee. At least I haven't come across any institute, or I haven't come across any other program which gives me this particular option. Honestly, when first time I came across this, I was really surprised. I actually asked them, is this actually happening? They were like, yes, if we have a deserving child, if the child is good enough to be part of the course, they can very well make use of this. So this is one thing. See, whatever it is, you should be making call to them once for this particular thing. This is an absolutely amazing concept. I wish this was there when I was studying. I never had enough money that I could go and maybe pursue a course straight away by paying upfront. So something like this would have been great for us. Now, when you talk of universities, what they are generally doing is they'll pick up people from the colleges who've been working with colleges say for 25, 30, 35 years, and then they'll ask them to curate the course. See, the world of computers changes maybe every 18 months. So what was relevant 5 years back is not as hot a property say today as it was maybe 5 years back. So it changes very quickly. With all due respects, the academicians that we have in the college, they are not exposed to what's actually happening on the ground. So a lot of times we find that the courses curated by the university, they are little irrelevant as far as the current market scenario is concerned. You will find all engineering students or all engineering faculties complaining about this. Okay, I've learned these skills, but boss, who is using these skills? The best part is, over here the courses are curated by industry experts. They have their placement partners who are not only picking up students from the companies, from the courses, but they are also there on the advisory board. These are the three gentlemen who are part of the industry, some very experienced, highly skilled people who are the ones who guide them in help them in curating the course. And the best part is, the courses are being revised almost every year. So maybe what we were teaching last year to our first year students, maybe it's going to change this year, right? I think we are in the process of finalizing that, and that is what is actually needed. See, it's very easy for us to sit down and blame the university for not doing it. See, understand, university will have about what? Mumbai University has about 71 engineering colleges affiliated to it. For them to make a decision, for them to make a change, it means that they have to think about the feasibility of doing it in 71 colleges in terms of resources. So it's very difficult for them. But with a smaller group, it's always easier for them to see, okay, what has changed in the market? Okay, this has changed in the market. This is what the industry is wanting. This is what the industry is advising. Let's upgrade our course. The course literally gets upgraded every year. So that is going to be a big advantage. So Industry Connect is fantastic. Pay after placement is actually unbelievable. And as far as the placement cell is concerned, it is working in a very active manner. Now, what I've tried to do is, most of you, when you registered, you've posted some questions. I've tried to answer whatever the queries that all of you asked through the session, but there are some questions which I've picked up which were not directly part of our discussion. So I'll first try and answer those questions, and then obviously I'm here to answer whatever the questions you guys have. Till the last question is there, we are over here, so you need not worry. Let me just, shouldn't take too much of time. I'll just take you through these questions, and then I'll take up the questions on the chat, or maybe our moderator over here, she'll help us out with that. Okay, now the first question that, let me just make some space here. Please, these are the questions which you had posted. Pursuing masters in statistics or in data science, which one is more preferable to widen my knowledge, and why? See, I think Anudya had asked this question. See, learning masters in statistics is always great, Make no mistake about it. But understand, when you are taking up data sciences, you are any which ways learning statistics. You will be learning enough of statistics to go out and pick up a job which needs skills in statistics. But add to that, you also have skills in data sciences. So by learning data sciences, you already have an opening in the field of statistics, but you also make yourself eligible to be part of the software industry. So it opens up a totally new domain for you. Why do you want to shut down one particular option going further? ठीक है, you learn data sciences, you can still go ahead and pursue a career in statistics, great. So I would always prefer you learn data sciences, because any which ways you will be learning skills in statistics while studying data sciences as well. Okay. Mohit had this question: what are the chances of postgrad in India, postgrad in data sciences within and out of India? What are the programming skills required? I think I've covered quite a bit of this as well. Mohit, in India, you have a lot of postgraduate programs available in data sciences. But when you pursue, just a couple of things. One, keep in mind that you have to be looking at a proper university. Don't go to the smaller universities or distance learning programs. Don't do that, right? Second is, if you want to study abroad, see data sciences, last year, see US, I've already mentioned. If you're looking at US, for MS in data sciences, you will end up spending anywhere between, say, a course starts from 35 lakhs going till about a crore, depending on the university that you go to. If you're looking at Europe, Ireland has been doing very well. Dublin City University and the TUD, the Technical University of Dublin, these two universities have been pretty popular. You will end up spending about 20-25 lakhs. So these are your options. Currently, assuming that you are trying to pursue these courses this year, looks a little difficult. US, we are already seeing that due to the visa issues, the number of students applying to US any which ways has gone down. I see that going down further this year. Europe is picking up big time, so that is another option that you have. So you can pursue masters in data sciences in India, masters in data sciences abroad as well. So you will have to look at where do you stand today, what is the amount of time that you have on hand, and what is the kind of expenditure that you are looking at. In India, if you are pursuing, say, any postgrad data science course, which is anywhere, say maybe it's either a 1-year course or a 2-year course, you will end up spending anywhere between, say, maybe 5 lakhs to 15 lakhs, depending on the institute that you go to. But options are many, whether it's in Mumbai or in India or across the globe, right? But there is too much competition also happening. I think I've answered this question. Wasim Khan had asked this question: how can a mechanical engineer with 5 years of experience switch to data sciences? You need to just pursue a proper course in data sciences, and trust me, I might be programming for data sciences for last say 7-8 years. You've done it for 1 year, but any company which deals with mechanical components will any day prefer having you rather than having me. Hiring me and teaching me mechanical engineering is not possible. Hiring you and teaching you data sciences is any day an easier option for them. And trust me when I say this, most courses that I'm doing as of now, most people who are attending are from the non-computer science background. Khushbu had asked this question: in which semester shall I exactly enroll for this course? Khushbu, I think you are currently studying on some of the technologies with us. I don't know, I presume you are from semester 4 as of now. See, these courses, any which ways, while pursuing your engineering parallel, you'll not be able to do it. When you start with your semester 8, which obviously will start in Jan, whichever the year, that is when you should be looking at your PG program. So, and that is how it works, whether you're pursuing an MS or whether you're pursuing an MBA or you're pursuing whatever. When you get to the start of your semester 8, January, whichever the year, that is when you should be targeting this. Always plan, say, 2 years ahead. So once you reach your final year, you'll have a lot of stuff to do. That is where you should start planning there. We can always connect for any more queries that you have. Siley had this question: what proper planning of courses or technology that students who are doing engineering should adopt and various career opportunities? See, Siley, whether you are pursuing engineering or any other course, basically what you need to do is you need to learn Python, you need to learn machine learning, you need to learn a little bit of statistics. This is what you need to have before you get started with anything with anything in data sciences. Unfortunately, our engineering curriculum, semester 3 Java, they've kept it for practical, so they are not doing it as a full-fledged subject. Old syllabus, Python was for one branch. They did not have it. I think we had it for computer branch. We did not have it for IT branch. The syllabus was supposed to be revised this year, but I don't see that happening now. It was supposed to happen somewhere in April, but nothing has happened. So everything is delayed by 1 year. So in your curriculum, you are not learning Python. In your curriculum, you're not learning machine learning. Machine learning, that you have one subject in semester 6, which is majorly theory. So that is what you have. So university courses are purely from the examination point of view. Forget what you're learning in engineering. Just understand, if you want to get started with data sciences, you need to know Python, you need to know R, you need to know machine learning, and if you know a little bit of statistics, you're good to get started. Josh had this question: having graduated from finance, what if I want to pursue data sciences, and what would be the next thing to do? Obviously, if you are from the finance background, data science is your stream. See, like what I mentioned for mechanical engineering, same thing applies to you. Now, tomorrow, maybe a major stockbroking firm, they want someone to come in and analyze the data or the performance of stocks and help them in deciding what are the scripts that they should be buying for the next year, or what are the scripts which they should be buying for, say, short term or long term. Now, again, if they hire an idiot like me who knows nothing but programming, I can write the code, but I don't understand the intricacies of finance. You, from a finance background, will have a major, huge advantage over me. What you should be doing is, you should be pursuing data sciences, take up a proper course for data sciences, 6 months to an year, whatever. And at the end of that 1 year, these financial giants, they'll be more than happy to hire you, because you will be able to curate the algorithms, which can actually just by a click, you'll be able to predict that, okay, currently this is what is happening on Nifty, or this is what is happening on the Bombay Stock Exchange, and this is what we should be buying. Say for short term, this is what we should be buying for long term, depending on the clients that they are catering to. Now you have a company like NJ Invest, massive company. Now they have so many clients. For every client, they want independent recommendations. Obviously, they cannot get an analyst for every client. Imagine you could design an algorithm, you just feed in your client profile, click, and you are getting, okay, this is the amount you want to invest, this is the period, then these are the scripts that you should be buying. So you should, in fact, go ahead and pursue data sciences. See, please, all those who are from the non-technical background, non-programming background, trust me, once you've learned data sciences, you will have an advantage, massive advantage, over a lot of other people who come from computing background and have studied data sciences. See, because whether I learn data sciences or not, basically, what is my skill? My skill is designing algorithms. My skill is designing programs. That is what I've learned as an engineer. That is what I've learned during my master's, and that is what I'm learning. But I don't have an expertise in a specific domain like a finance or a statistics, or maybe a mechanical systems, or maybe automobile industry, or say maybe medical facilities. I don't. So all those who come from those backgrounds, you can always have an advantage over people like us. So that is what you need to be doing. Okay, so these were some of the questions that I wanted to discuss. Others, what you had asked, I've tried to cover in the sessions. Now it's up to you. Now, whatever questions you have, please, you can put it in the chat window, and we'll try and answer those.
All right. Thank you, sir. That was a power-packed presentation. While during the presentation, there are a lot of questions that our students have been asking. I'll start from the beginning. We have Saqib Ansari. She's saying she's hearing you after 8 years and still very, very inspiring. And she has a question. Saying, how does it impact someone who is currently pursuing MBA? This is the question from Saqib Ansari itself.
Okay. I'll answer this now. See, Saqib, a lot of people from sales background are now currently taking up data sciences. Now, assuming that you are pursuing, say, maybe MBA, maybe in finance, or maybe say in HR or whatever. See, understand, it remains the same for every domain. What we spoke for mechanical engineers, what we spoke for say the finance graduate. See, whichever domain you're working with, assuming that, say, you're pursuing your MBA in HR, tomorrow you'll be joining a company. Now what happens is, suppose if the company is listing an opening there might be maybe say 3,000 applications coming your way. Now, obviously, it's not possible for you to actually sit down and scan. You can design a simple algorithm which will extract the data from all these resumes and shortlist maybe 30 candidates who will fit exactly into your requirement. Now, rather than scanning 3,000 resumes, you can easily do that using a single algorithm. So that is where we are using, again, artificial intelligence or data sciences. So it is about whatever the domain that you work with or you plan to work with, it will have data, and you will have to figure out relevant data and try and come up with predictions, or try to come up with data models which can help you take decisions. So very, very, very relevant for you, even if you're from MBA.
All right. I hope that answers your question, Saqib. We have one more from Rohit Gupta. We've already addressed this. He's
Okay.
asking, sir, guide us how to start after 12th standard. I am just going to enter the engineering stream. I am planning to do BTech in data science. Please guide me.
Okay. See, there are two ways of approaching data sciences. One, either you take your engineering, B, you finish your B in computers or IT, and then you pursue your data sciences. Or you can get started with BTech in data sciences as well. So either ways, it works for you. Either ways it works for you. And now that you are getting into graduation, I'm sure you're looking at a proper university college. And if that is the case, just go ahead, take a BSc in, sorry, you can take a BSc in data sciences or BTech in data sciences, or take a B in computers and then pursue your data sciences. So it's up to you. See, earlier students did not have too many options. Everybody used to complete their B and then pursue data sciences at master's level. But now a lot of universities in India also have courses for data sciences at undergrad level. You can very well go ahead and pursue them.
All right. And Tanmit Mehta. He's asking, is engineering necessary or BSc can also get me to success?
See, this debate has been there forever, engineering versus BSc. See, understand this, when I'm training to be a computer engineer, I'm taught things relevant to computers, but I'm taught about all the aspects of computer. So I'll know a little bit of algorithm analysis, I'll know a little bit of networking, I'll know a little bit of big data, I'll know a little bit of distributed processing, data processing, I'll know all of these. Now my problem is, at the end of it, I am a jack of all trades. What has happened is, with the with the emphasis on industry relevant courses, if you're taking up a course, say in data sciences, you will not know most of the aspects of computers, but you will know everything pertaining to one specific domain. So BSc in data sciences is exactly that. So it's for you to choose. If you feel, no, I'm very clear, I want to pursue data sciences, take a BSc in data sciences from one of the better institutes, go ahead, do it, great. If you think, no, I'm still not very sure what exactly do I want to do in computers, then you should be taking up engineering, study all aspects of computers for 4 years, and then figure out what is your area of interest, and then go ahead. So you need to be looking at how sure you are about taking up data sciences at this stage. But BSc from a good institute is as good as maybe engineering as well.
All right. So we have Shahid Chauhan who's asking, sir, need to know about blockchain as well. Is it more or less like data scientist, and what's the future for it? I think this can be a topic for later webinars as well. But
Shahid, I guess you're also on one of the courses with me. I so wish I was so knowledgeable that I could actually touch upon all the concepts. Honestly, blockchain is not my domain. I haven't worked in that domain at all. So I'll be the wrong person to be talking about blockchain.
okay. So we have Rohit explaining, asking difference between MSc or BSc or BTech in data science. What is the difference between the three courses in terms of what you learn?
See, if you are comparing MTech and MSc, that is understandable. You cannot compare BSc and MSc because one is an undergrad course and the others are postgrad course. Now, assuming that you are a graduate and you are looking at, say, postgrad courses, then you have an MTech, but obviously for that you have to be a BE. Or if you have MSc, what that means is you are a BSc. See, again, when you talk of MTech, anything pertaining to engineering will always cover all the broader aspects of computers. So if I'm studying my MTech, I'll be studying about image processing as well. But if you're pursuing MSc in data sciences, you've got nothing to do with image processing. So you'll not be learning image processing. Always the engineering field is always more generic. Whereas any course which talks precisely about data sciences is very specific. The contents remain pretty much the same. Now, whether you are learning at BSc level or whether you are learning at postgrad level, what will you be learning? You'll be learning Python, you'll be learning R, you'll be learning object oriented, you'll be learning statistics, you'll be learning big data. The content remains the same. The content remains pretty much the same. So MTech is always generic. BTech is always more generic. See, understand, engineering means creating something. So if I'm a computer engineer, you might want me to actually set up a cloud. You might want me to create a particular network. You want me to analyze algorithms. So I would be looking at say multiple domains. But when you're learning to be a data scientist, all you will be expected to do is work or design algorithm for data analysis. That's it. So it is very focused, pinpointed. Engineering is always generic. If you're very sure I want data sciences, pursue data science, whether it is at BSc level or MSc level or MTech level. What you learn is pretty much the same. If you're not sure, then you should take a BTech or MTech. But you cannot compare BSc with MTech or BSc with MSc. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So a lot of similar questions asking majorly the same things in different manner about how should I pursue the course, which are some relevant universities from where I can pursue the course, or the difference between the basic subjects and everything. But I'm sure we've covered most of it.
See, just
You
one thing I
have
want to add here. See, a problem today is I can understand the confusion and why this question keeps coming up all the time. The problem is there are so many courses available, so many institutes offering these courses that students are absolutely confused कि भाई पढ़े तो पढ़े क्या, करे तो करे क्या, ऐसी बात हो गई हो. See,
yeah.
the idea is simple. If you are starting your career, you have to stick to one of the proper universities. Now, it could be Mumbai, it could be Pune, it could be Delhi, it could be Bangalore. It has to be a proper university. Don't go for these certificate courses, which maybe for 3 months you study, you get a certificate. But understand, suppose, assuming, say, I've done my BE or I've done my BSc and I've done the certificate course. At the end of it, I'm still a BSc. I'm not a postgrad. But what I've done is I've done maybe my BSc or B, and then I'm pursuing say MSc in data sciences say from Mumbai University. Then you are a proper postgrad. It makes a difference when you apply, right? So just don't pick up these certificate courses. Study from a proper university. That is what would be needed when you actually go for employment or when you're actually looking for jobs.
Perfect. So I'm sure we've very similar questions again coming up. Some of the data science firm recommended to pursue engineering because it's better for future placement. Is that true?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
This is from Tanmit again, asking some of the data science firm recommended to pursue engineering because you get better future placement. Is that true?
See, let me just make a comparison. If you've done say BSc in data sciences, followed by say MSc in data science, and say I've done BE in computer engineering, and then I've done maybe say MSc in data sciences. Now the difference is because I've done my BE, I've learned so many different aspects as well. So a company which is looking for someone who knows data sciences, but they also need the person to have some kind of knowledge around say some other domains of computers, they might go for a BE plus data science. But if there's a company which is purely into analytics, which are looking for people like a company like Netflix, they would want someone who could just analyze the client profiles and come up with recommendations. They don't need a BE. They will take someone who is purely into data science. So it will purely depend on the company that you apply to or the requirements.
Yeah.
Like what I mentioned, BE and ME engineering degrees are always covering other aspects of computing as well, which pure data sciences courses won't.
Yeah. I'm taking just this one last question and we're going to wrap up on the Q&A part. We have Nikhil Mahakal asking, postgraduate diploma course for working professionals, if it's possible, and if yes, kindly elaborate.
Nikhil, I guess again we are connected on, I think, the Python course currently. See, if you want to learn something and you want to take up a job based on that, it's always better to have a proper degree or a proper diploma. See, assuming that you've been working for a couple of years, then we will not be able to find time to attend, say, full-time 2 years college, or maybe one time, or say maybe 1 year full-time college. So for us, any PG diploma from a good university will always help us to pursue or to take up jobs or become a professional in the field of data sciences. So for you, it is always possible that you take up the data sciences PG course, and then you can work it up from there. If you need any more details, I think we connect frequently. We can always have an elaborated discussion on that. It's always better to have a proper degree from a proper university.
All right, sounds perfect. Guys, all the other questions that are coming up, I have shared the brochures as handouts here. You can download them, go through them. And if you have any more queries, you can get in touch with the contact details there. And I can surely pass on all of these questions to sir and have him answer them as much as possible. But for now, we'll wrap up here, and a big thank you, sir, for elaborating and with patience answering so many questions from all our students. So big thank you for coming and sharing.
Thanks, Bobby.
Your
Thanks,
views on this
SVJ.
platform
And
today.
thank you guys for your time. Hope the session was of some help. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, there's a small survey in the end. When you exit, you can share your views on the survey so that we can get back onto it accordingly. Thank you, guys. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, ma'am.